Hello everybody, welcome to Spark Inspiration. I decided to use a couple oracle cards that are really standing out within the realm of helpfulness. And number one, definitely for me this morning, and I had to keep pulling myself back to this, is Spirit Self. Be who you are as you are. This talks about choosing to express yourself authentically in an important area of your life. Choosing you in this situation is likely to bring fulfillment and initiate the beginnings of doing the same thing in other areas of your life. Like anybody, when I wake up, I'm kind of pulled in different directions, different family members, animals, what I need to do for work, what I need to do that's conducive for my sense of calm and balance. Like I always want to go out in the yard and sit and talk to all the cats that come in and ground out. But like anything, to move a muscle and change a thought, it's kind of hard. And that originates in our spirit self. It tells us, this is what your body needs. This is what your mind needs. This is what you need to feel grounded, safe, secure, whatever. So by listening to that, we initiate the change that we need to do this. And everything, relationships, our health, our self-care, our growth. This is a reminder of our birthright to assert your truth and your personal power too. And your spirit self is always available to you and worth prioritizing. Like I know I want a nice, clean, clear headspace later for the beginning of the week. It's like Monday really starts to amp up my reads and a lot of stuff. So I like to have closure on Sunday and start like Monday fresh, but I have to be careful not to inundate myself and kind of, because a lot of clients have free time on Sunday, so I end up doing a lot of messaging. But I rarely take an entire day off. I feel like yesterday I had my most amount of time to myself, so I feel like clear-headed. But again, we have to ask ourselves, are we in touch with what we authentically need, and ask ourselves that and be able to do that nutritionally, every last little thing, right? And make sure we're okay. And I'm also going to pull a tarot card on that because I find that very helpful. Yep, there we go. Queen of Swords, higher minded thinking, being strong in our own sovereignty, saying yes to our needs, fortifying our boundaries, so we're not allowing oftentimes I find the boundary overlays tend to happen sometimes on social media. People feel obliged to answer people, to connect, and they get a little burnt out. I have to be careful with my DMs because I'll go over in there, like people will be asking about everything, family issues, crystals, travel, all of this stuff. And once I start answering, I'll realize I've been on there. Like I haven't done that recently. I'll do a couple and I'll set a timer, because what happens is we can get lost in that labyrinth. But this card says, hey, what do you need to do for strong mental health right now? And are you allocating that time? And also what I'll do is I will put aside a little time of study each morning. Like I'll be going through my books. I'll be going through, my tarot books have some really great stuff, as well as the oracle decks that are wonderful reminders of what we need to tap into. And it's to ask ourselves, do I really want to be doing this right now? Is this conducive to my health? Because I always find if I'm just, tempted to give these kind of brief answers, almost like people just heart everything, then I wait and I pause, because it means that I haven't assessed the situation fully. And people are asking me some really intense questions at times. So I got to put that time of study in. I'm not just going to, especially when it comes to mental health. So this is saying answer the best you can where you are with what you have, but make sure, that you're fortifying your strength so you're able to do things with integrity and full awareness, right? This is full awareness, which I love. And Spirit Self helps us do that, be in full awareness. So I'm loving that. So self-love, super important right now. Now is a time to love, nurture, and heal yourself. Self-love is not simply a state of mind about feeling good. It's a state of appreciation for yourself that grows and matures from actions you take to support your body, mind, and soul. That's that old adage I'm always talking about. We can't feed others from an empty table. So if we feel we're at our bandwidth and we're pulled in different directions and we can't ground out solidly, we need to take a pause. And in that stillness, find our kind of anchor and be like, okay, one thing at a time, one starting point, that's all we need. And I use this in terms of motivation. Like I read this thing the other day and I thought that is so true. And it's about starting new habits. And people were talking about participating in this one study where they took the batteries out of their television television remote control, if they wanted to read their book or listen to an audiobook, yet they were always drawn towards their TV. That extra 20 seconds that it would take to get the batteries put in the remote, instead of reaching for that book right next to you, was all the difference it took. And they were finding, and the studies were amazingly high, that given, and this is kind of sad, but it's true, given the choice between doing something just kind of lazy, half-hearted when we're tired, and having to put effort in, we'll go for the easier route. So let's make the smarter choice the easier route by having that book there, by having those beads there to make your jewelry, by having that audio book there to listen, study, chart, blueprint, whatever it is, as opposed to the TV remote and our devices, which we can end through scrolling endlessly, right? Because self-love is about growth. It's about assessing what we really need. I feel much mellower in a calmer headspace when I read something, even if it's my oracle books that ground me out, as opposed to scrolling through stuff on TV endlessly. Although one thing that's very helpful to me is when I go on YouTube, I go to my favorite readers, their voice, their countenance, and their skill sets on understanding certain things are very grounding and helpful to me. But again, I limit that as well. So what are you doing? Are you putting good, nutritious food in your body? Are you going for a walk? Are you sitting outside listening? Oftentimes our body will tell us what's going on. There'll be a tightness or a tension in our neck. That means we're overloading ourselves. Same thing, our stomach, our gut reactions to things. If there's pain, stress, whatever, our bodies carry different stressors. Chakras can be blocked. You know, the chi that flows, if it is blocked up because we're inundated with too much, we need a reason to assess why we might be feeling that way, look into it, and alleviate that pain. Oftentimes it comes from relationships. So relationships are just mirror images of our own life. So how you feel and treat yourself, as well as how you react and respond to different situations and people around you. Be aware that every relationship is an opportunity for soul growth. Sometimes we may have an impatience towards someone, a friend or a family member. They will reach out at different points where they need help, and we may not be prepared to have that at that moment, or want to be able to listen or whatever. We will play an old story in our head, which isn't always helpful. You know, I used to do this with a brother of mine. Like, oh my gosh, just the mere idea of being around them was always like, oh, now they want something. They're going to want money. They're going to want a ride. They're going to want something, because that had happened in the past. And due to like addictions and all of that, a trail of just, you know, things on fire had always followed him. You know, speeding tickets. I don't know how, but he somehow got a ticket on a isolated lake in Maine for doing like something he didn't have a license for, fishing or something. I just felt like that. But when we do that, we are labeling them and then bringing that problems with them. When people, you know, there are different instances where we do need to cut the ties because they can become very toxic. But there are times where we already decide something is going to be problematic where it might not necessarily be so. And again, this is all about, you know, mirroring. It's our state of mind. If we feel good, open to listen, we can take new concepts on board. We can listen and see them with fresh eyes as well, right? And respond to different situations in a more open-hearted, lighter way, right? You see this? I love this because I always feel like this is like, let these birds of peace and these kind of lucky clovers go and decide to just listen, being an empty vessel. That's like one of my favorite terminologies these days, because when we're empty, we can fill it with new things, new ideas. When we already think we know something or how something's going to turn out, very hard to fill an already filled vessel, right? So that old adage, this is an empty jar, this is an empty jar. What do I want to fill it with today? And good things, right? Let's pull one more card on top of this to see what is occurring. There we go. There's our passionate messages from the Page of Wands. Be open to listen to all these messages from the universe. Messages of passion, creativity, love, forward thinking, open heart, open mind, open soul, all of that. Open vista, right? I love pages. There's an innocence. There is a curiosity, and we should always be curious on how we can grow and be creative and be loving and, you know, kind of like torch our life up, set it on fire, have it be passionate about what we're doing. You ever have a conversation with somebody and they just talk in a monotone? It's like, it's one of those, I'd rather have someone not talk at all than do that, because they're trying to appear like they're there or they're conscious of what's going on, but it's just like, it's the saddest thing. There's a lack of vitality and fire to it. And this is saying we're now going to be fired up and geared up, and we're not. If we ever feel like we're going to approach something in the proverbial monotone, we're not even going to do it, because it's not going to be an asset to our life, not mentally, not physically, not emotionally. We want to be like, hell yes, or no thank you. You're right. Every little thing, let's do this. Let's attach enthusiasm, love, and optimism to it. And that's what's happening for us. So love and light to you guys. Thank you so much for tuning every day and your great comments. I read every single thing, but like I said before, I don't like to just heart and go on. I actually want to respond in sentences and connect with you, but I've been reading them and I appreciate them so much. Again, all my links are down below. And come on over to IG. Got a lot of fun stuff going on over there. And I appreciate you guys so much, because you're all just trying to tap into this communal optimism and feeling good and knowing that, it starts in our mind space. What are we going to fill it with? Let's get decisive and really, really plug into what lifts us. And, there's always a wellspring of that, whether it's on YouTube, IG, whatever. There's always that starting point where we can ignite that fire in our head that says, today's going to be a good day. I'm going to take care of myself. I'm going to talk to my friends. I'm going to make good, grounded, solid choices and, just kind of like earth out. I feel like it's really important. One of the things that do that for me is obviously my reads and my books. And when I start, I feel that energy and I feel good. And that energy starts to flow. And I realize everything's possible. Anything that I made into a big deal, going to the store, having to do something, go outside, cleaning, whatever it is, organizing, that always is like a phantom tug of war goes with me. But once I started, I realized, this was much easier. So I just move forward, step after step, but it's the starting point, and have clarity and then have optimism towards it. And then you just kind of move on from there. So love and light, everyone.